Some heavyweights feel that they deserve a title shot just because they've been toiling in the division. Others feel that they deserve a shot on the merit of what they've accomplished. And then yet there's others who, before they get a title shot, they are eyeballing an opportunity at revenge. And such is the case for Filip Hrgovic as he enters the fight card on August 16th that will feature in the main event. Dillian Whyte taking on Moses Atuma. Hrgovic wants another shot at Daniel Dubois, but first he'll have to take care of youthful David Adelaide. And it's a real test for Hrgovic because he's going to have to prove that he's ready. And we're going to be ready for him. Let's talk about this fight and Hrgovic's wishes. Heavyweight contender Filip Hrgovic fancies an opportunity to get back in the ring against Dynamite Daniel Dubois. And he wants to set the record straight. But first, he's going to have to face the man he's scheduled to battle against on August 16th. And that'll be David Adelaide from the UK. Now, Adelaide is a young fighter who is not quite proven and has even struggled at the local level in the UK. He currently brings a record of 14-1 with 13 KOs into his match to face Hrgovic. He's 6'4.5", 28 years of age. But he's sort of a aloof personality. And Hrgovic, who now is 33 years of age, El Animal is his nickname. But he hasn't been such an animal over his last few fights. But he still wants that title shot but he feels like something just didn't go right when he faced Dubois. And so he's looking for the opportunity to get back in the ring and correct what he thinks went wrong for him against Dubois. And after Alexander Usyk handed Dubois an exclamation point fight that totally brought Dubois down to earth, even facing Hrgovic a second go round, I don't think there'll be much stock or belief from the public when you talk about him getting in the ring again against Hrgovic. Hrgovic has had success, just like when he fought Joe Joyce, the Juggernaut. When he faced Joyce in his last fight, April of this year, he had a unanimous decision over Joyce, slapping him around the ring with his jab and right hands. He went on to pretty much a cruised victory. But it was that prior fight against Dubois in June of 2024 where he was stopped inside the distance on cuts and a battering he had taken from the heavy-fisted Daniel Dubois. But Hrgovic feels like he still has a lot to prove. People recall his fight against Zhilei Zhang. Now that was a battle of the giants. Both men 6'6" and thunderous, plodding punchers. Zhang faced Hrgovic in August of 2022. Pulled out a unanimous decision. Hrgovic, who had been going through some issues outside the ring with family loss and such matters, may have been a little distracted. We could give him that, especially when his loved ones had been close to him prior to that situation where they were no longer there. Zhang also put him on the canvas for a defined knockdown in his career, and many people forget about that. But Zhang, with his Chinese power, he was able to break through Hrgovic's guard, and I actually thought that Zhang should have gotten that decision on that night. And he did, but Hrgovic felt like even in that he wasn't at his best. But there comes a time when you have to do your best, compete at your best. And he had another rough outing. Like I said, Dempsey McKean, Mark DeMorty, two fighters who really didn't belong in the ring with him, easy TKO victories until he came across Dubois. The Dubois fight brought him back down to earth again. So here he is, coming on the 16th of August, facing another young heavyweight that could possibly show that he's old, as they say, long in the tooth, and not prepared. However, there's something about that we need to look at. And it goes back to like when he defeated Joe Joyce. There's a certain amount of confidence that a fighter needs to bring. According to an article, Ring Magazine, Hrgovic says, when he strolled to the ring on June 1st, 2024, he smiled widely as Dubois waited for him. A few rounds later, that smile morphed into a look of panic and despair. Dubois pounded Hrgovic over and over again. By the 8th round, blood flowed into Hrgovic's eyes and his mouth remained wide open as he breathed deeply for air. Already beaten mentally and physically, a ringside doctor informed referee John Latham that the plug should be pulled. Although it's been nearly a year since then, Hrgovic still can't believe what happened. The 33-year-old knows he isn't in a position to make demands, but what he would like more than anything is to run things back. Hopefully I'll get that fight again and I'll beat him, Hrgovic told The Ring. That's the fight I want the most. I want a rematch. I think I can beat him. Momentum is a funny thing in boxing. 1 minute you have it, the next you don't. Dubois, after being on top of the world, lost his IBF title to Usyk a few short weeks ago at Wembley Stadium. Hrgovic, on the other hand, has things rolling. In his first appearance of the year against Joe Joyce on April 5th, Hrgovic, whose record now is 18-1 with 14 KOs, worked hard for his unanimous decision win at Co-op Live Arena in Manchester. He'll need to make it 2 in a row if he wants to get closer to a rematch with Dubois. But David Adeleye is looking for a career-changing victory. The Ring's number 6 heavyweight on August 16th against Hrgovic. Of course, all eyes on Adeleye, but Hrgovic recently allowed his mind to wander to the past. Dubois beat him fair and square, no argument there. But was that the best version of Hrgovic? He says a lot of bad things happened before the fight. I was injured the last few weeks of sparring. I was sick before the fight. You could see that in the fight. After 6 rounds, I didn't have energy because of that illness, and I took him lightly. I thought I was going to destroy him. You see, that's the thing. The mentality that Hrgovic has. Even with setbacks, he seemingly likes to think about there was something else wrong instead of what he did or didn't do wrong. And if a fighter wants to continue down that path, he's only going to disappoint himself more, because that famous word that I speak, accountability, comes into play. And he's going to have to be accountable, whether he's won a decision or lost a decision, got stopped or stopped the other guy. He's going to have to stand on the merit of what transpires in the ring. And I'm believing that he's having difficulty with that. He's 33 now. Adeleye is 28. That's a young fighter. That's a guy entering prime. That's a guy who hasn't taken a lot of punishment. And that's a guy who has any kind of success, his confidence is going to grow. He's athletic, he has the faster hands, and he has equally a bigger punch. But what's going on with Adeleye upstairs is my thing. He reminds me of a UK version of Jarrell Big Baby Miller with his personality. If he ever decides to rein things in and get serious, that talent could show the potential that may have been uncovered. But if he doesn't get it together psychologically, a fighter like Filip Hrgovic will enjoy the spoils for success. And that's why I have him favored in that fight. But it still has to be done by Hrgovic putting in the work. He needs to get his butt into shape. He needs to train like he really means it and is sincere. He needs to put forth an aggressive nature in his performance and show the world that he's not a man of excuses. Will he be able to do it? It remains to be seen. The ability is there, but the clock is winding down. But what do you think? This is Stormy B Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what your thoughts are about Filip Hrgovic. And do you think or see him having a chance to get back at Dubois? It really is interesting. Leave comments and let's discuss further. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.